You know Kylian Mbappé, the footballer. This is everything else. From the kid in Bondy nobody was watching, to the businessman and legal target he is today. And almost none of it made the highlight reels. In 2005, a fire was burning a few streets away from a 6-year-old boy in a Paris suburb. Cars torched, buildings burned. Some of the worst unrest France had seen in decades, and it was happening close enough to reach his home.
Thousands of vehicles across the country were set on fire. In all, approaching 3,000 people arrested.
That kid grew up to score in a World Cup final. Get sued by his own club for tens of millions of euros and become the target of a blackmail plot he didn't even know he was part of. Mbappé was born in Paris and raised in Bondy, a working-class suburb northeast of the city. In 2005, when he was 6, Bondy was hit by one of the most serious waves of rioting in modern French history. Cars and public buildings burned close to where his family lived. In the middle of that, his parents kept him locked in on football. As a kid, Mbappé went to a private Catholic school, where teachers considered him academically gifted, and, by most accounts, a genuine handful to manage.
On regarde dans l'histoire, les meilleurs, c'était des Noirs et des Arabes. À part Platini, Cantona et tout ça.
His hero wasn't who you'd expect either. Before the world knew him as obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo, young Mbappé actually idolized Brazilian forward Robinho, so much so that he used to go by Kylian Robinho online as a kid. And through all of it, there was one constant: his grandmother. She calls him before every match, without fail. Years later, after France lost the 2022 World Cup final, arguably the lowest moment of his career, she was the only person he called. This wasn't a household that stumbled into football by accident. His father, Wilfred, spent close to 25 years coaching at the local Bondy club, developing not just his own son, but a string of other players who went on to become professionals. His mother, Faiza, played handball at a high level for the same club's handball side before she ever became one of the most influential dealmakers in football. The athletic streak didn't stop with Kylian. His adopted older brother, Girez Kembo Ekoko, had his own professional career, playing for Rennes before continuing overseas. His younger brother, Ethan, followed a similar academy path through PSG and is now a professional midfielder in his own right. 4 kids from the same household, 3 of them professional athletes, coached in large part by their own parents. By age 11, Real Madrid had already invited him to train with their youth teams. Rennes wanted him so badly that after he single-handedly won an under-12 tournament, the club sent staff to his family's actual home to try to recruit him in person. It didn't work. Khan tracked him for 3 straight years, then got relegated in 2012 and simply couldn't afford him anymore. A few years later, he'd be worth hundreds of millions of euros. At 14, Chelsea flew him to London, let him train with their academy, and had him play a match for their youth side. He thought he'd done enough to earn a contract. Chelsea never called back. He signed with Monaco instead, made his debut at 16, and by 18 had been sold to PSG for a fee that made him the most expensive teenager in football history. To understand why every club wanted him, it helps to look at the numbers. Mbappé has been clocked running faster than Usain Bolt's average speed during his 100-meter world record. Not his top speed, but still a staggering number for someone carrying a football at full sprint. His shot power has been measured well above what most professional strikers produce. By his mid-20s, he'd already scored over 250 goals for PSG alone, becoming the club's all-time top scorer, and become the youngest player in decades to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final. After winning the 2018 World Cup at 19, Mbappé donated his entire tournament salary, around €500,000, to charity. The next year, he helped fund the search for footballer Emiliano Sala, whose plane disappeared over the English Channel. In 2023, at the peak of his value, he reportedly turned down an offer worth roughly €300 million to move to Saudi Arabia. He chose to stay in Europe. That single decision would end up at the center of a legal fight you'll hear about shortly. Somewhere along the way, he also picked up an unusual side title. In 2021, he became the godfather to 2 baby pandas at a zoo in France. Off the pitch, Mbappé quietly became a businessman. Through his investment firm, he now owns roughly 80% of French club SM Caen, the same club that once couldn't afford to sign him as a kid. He also launched an entertainment company in Los Angeles called Zebra Valley, which has a content partnership with the NBA. His portfolio doesn't stop there. He's backed a fantasy sports platform, invested in a French health tech company, and taken a stake in a professional sailing team. He even co-founded a company that manages athlete image rights, meaning he now partly owns the type of business that normally profits off players exactly like him. Running much of this operation is his mother, Faiza Lamari. She's not just managing his career, she's widely described as one of the most powerful business figures in football, negotiating his biggest contracts and deals directly. Mbappé has actually been a meme long before most fans realized it. Early in his career, he was frequently compared online to a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, purely over a resemblance fans couldn't unsee. Then, in 2024, a French influencer named a kebab sandwich after him, joking about the shape of his head. Mbappé's lawyers sent a legal threat over it. The internet did not let it go, and that lawsuit became the actual origin of the Dictator Mbappé meme that exploded years later during the 2026 World Cup. A joke about bread turned into one of the biggest running jokes in football. Fame around Mbappé has attracted trouble that has nothing to do with football. Between 2021 and 2023, a man in France was convicted for impersonating Mbappé's father in order to obtain a French residence permit. He was sentenced to 10 months in prison. In 2024, his France teammate Paul Pogba became the target of a blackmail and extortion scheme involving people close to him, including his own brother. As part of the pressure campaign, the group reportedly threatened to falsely claim Pogba had asked a folk healer to curse Mbappé, using that story as leverage to try to extract millions of euros. Pogba denied it. Several people connected to the case were later put on trial. Mbappé wasn't a target here. His name was simply pulled into someone else's crisis. More recently, at the 2026 World Cup, Mbappé became the target of racist remarks posted by a sitting Paraguayan senator after France defeated Paraguay. The comments were widely condemned by FIFA, by the United Nations Human Rights Office, and by French prosecutors who opened their own investigation into the senator's remarks. Mbappé responded publicly and directly, calling the comments what they were. It's a reminder that even at the top of the sport, players of color still face abuse that has nothing to do with how they play. And 2 financial disputes are still unresolved. In December 2025, a Paris labor court ruled that PSG owed Mbappé more than 60 million euros in unpaid wages and bonuses from his 2024 exit, a case both sides are still fighting on appeal. Separately, French prosecutors opened a financial investigation in 2025 into roughly 180,000 euros in payments Mbappé made to police officers assigned to protect the French national team, after authorities flagged the transactions as unusual. His team says everything was done by the book. No charges have been filed, and the case is still open. A kid from a suburb that was on fire. A teenager 3 different clubs fought to sign. A businessman who now owns the club that once couldn't afford him. A man who's faced racism on the world's biggest stage and legal battles most fans have never heard of. The version of Mbappé on the scoreboard is only part of the story. This was the rest of it.